Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome to the one and only Garry Tonon up against Martin Nguyen this weekend. 165 in Tokyo. Martin says you guys are going to punch each other's faces off and try and rip each other's bones off. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, man. I mean, you're definitely looking at two guys that try to finish fights for sure. Unquestionably Martin and myself included. I think that we just tend to do it in different ways. But yeah, I think for sure you're going to see two people that are super interested in getting a finish. Martin, usually much more with the stand up, and me much more with the groundwork. But it's definitely going to be an exciting fight regardless.
What does it say about you that you suffered the first loss of your career, came back, finished two guys? What does that say about you as a guy and as a fighter to go and not just win two fights, but finish them as well? I think you finished everybody.
Um, yeah, I think that like the first loss in my career was super important for my development. I had mentioned a lot of times when I was getting interviewed, people were asking me how I liked MMA and how things were going, because I made that transition from jiu-jitsu to MMA. And it's like, hey man, like I had all not only wins, but pretty dominant performances against all my opponents, even if the fights went to distance. So it's like, and not only that, I took for very little damage. Like there wasn't any serious, it wasn't like I got knocked down during any of the rounds or anything like that. So it's like, I mean, it's it's pretty easy to say something's enjoyable when you're not, on the receiving end of like harsh or serious punishment. Like, hey man, if I could tell somebody like, hey man, you're gonna be an MMA fighter, okay? I know you're scared shitless to do that, but I can promise you you're gonna take almost no damage, and you're gonna get to walk around with the belt around your waist. People are gonna think you're super awesome and tough and all these sorts of things. Everybody would sign up. You know what I mean? Like it's everybody would be like, yeah, of course I want to be an MMA champion. But it's the hard moments, the moments of taking serious punishment and undergoing the adversity and things that make you reconsider. It's like when I watch a video, a lot of people watch videos of knockouts, right? And most of the time, especially men, I would think, when they're watching a video of a knockout, they imagine themselves being the one that's doing the knocking out. We don't, I think it's a protective mechanism that we have in our brain that like we want to see like the best of that situation. We don't want to imagine that we're going to be the ones on the receiving end of the harsh punishment. And you know, when you finally are, it could really change things. Maybe after I got knocked out, I could have decided like, man, this isn't for me. I thought like, man, that's what I got. That's what's waiting for me. And it's not like I didn't encounter adversity during training and things, but it's a different thing. Your training partners, if you have good ones, are not trying to knock you out. And so you don't really encounter adversity like I encountered in that fight, anywhere else but in the actual fight. And in I'm not gonna I'm not gonna make any cliche sayings about losing, but I'll just say that, I think it was an important part of my career and my movement forward. And it was a turning point to say the least, where I now know for real, that I'm interested in doing this because if I wasn't, that would have been a great time to quit. That would have been a great time to say, maybe we back off of this like MMA stuff and do something else because, that was a tough knockout loss, man. And it didn't feel good. And it's, the other thing about MMA, unlike jujitsu, is man, when I used to compete in jujitsu, I mean, I was competing multiple times a month, at least twice a month, at a professional level. So it's like, dude, you lose. It's like, whatever. I'm gonna be back out there. I mean, assuming you don't get a serious injury, right? But it's like, man, especially with concussions and like getting knocked out, like you can't just get back in there, man. Like it doesn't work like that. So, you got to wait at least it's probably going to be 6 months after you get knocked out before you're going to have another fight again. So you just got to sit with those feelings for a long time. And I did. And I decided that I still wanted to do this. And I decided that, I still make a run at being one of the best. And that's what I want to do. So I think, in my story, having those two submission wins, right back to back, right afterwards, and one of them against, probably what will eventually become another guy that's going to be in the top 5 in this division, if he's not already. I don't know if Shamil earned his
Yes.
place after his last fight or not, but there you go. So, one of them was against one of the top 5. So it's like, hey man, I'm right here. I'm still a heavy hitter in this division. I still want this. I still I'm a contender for the world championship. I'm still a contender to be the best mixed martial artist that there was at this weight class, and that's what I'm always aiming to do.
Did it give you any hesitation? Because DDS guys are known for some of the best leg lockers on planet Earth. And we've, as MMA watchers, we've always had those kind of jujitsu isn't real jokes with people like Derek Lewis. And, Tanley kind of, that was his jujitsu isn't real moment. Does it give you any hesitation now because you're one of the most savage leg lockers in the game? Are you now either trying to sharpen up or like, do you have doubts of it's MMA? Shit, sorry. But like, what do you feel going into those situations now? Does it give you any hesitation?
No, man. I mean, it gives hesitation in under certain circumstances. Like it definitely adds a certain gravity to being in certain situations in a fight. Like there's no question that the next time I'm in a bottom situation in an Ashigarami that I'm going to have a little bit more urgency to potentially get back up as opposed to just look for the finish, right? Like it would be hard to take that moment and not get something out of it. You know what I mean? In that regard. But I think that sometimes you can take a moment like that and catastrophize a little bit. I think you can take a moment like that and you could say to yourself, oh man, well, I'll just never go for a leg lock again. And it's like, well, look at my last fight. It's like, it depends on the circumstances, man. In my last fight, I was able to roll into a submission hold, that there was no question, there was no way that he was going to be able to hurt me, from that position. So it's just the approach might be a little bit different. The conditions might be a little bit different. There might be a little bit more urgency now, when I'm in certain situations because I've really felt the danger of being on bottom, looking for a leg lock. And I hadn't, I had felt it in previous fights, but I dealt with it really well. I defended very well. At no point in time was I ever in any other fight where I was in an Ashigarami situation, even if I didn't get the finish, was I in real danger of like getting knocked out. So, it brought some more gravity to the danger of that situation. And for sure, I'll move forward a different fighter, having learned that. But I don't catastrophize to the point where I go, oh man, yeah, that just doesn't work anymore. Like you can't, like I have enough. There's one of the beauties of being at the point that I'm at in mixed martial arts is like, there's been a lot of people that have come before me to do this. And even in the leg locking world, and I have a lot of evidence that this stuff works, man. Like I got a lot of evidence from myself, but I also have evidence from other people. And it's like, yeah, I know that, leg locks can be dangerous, and both for the person I'm applying them to and for me as well in a fight. But man, it's a fight. Everything's dangerous. It's dangerous to just be in there, It's like saying like you can't throw a left hook because sometimes you get countered with an overhand or something, It's like it becomes silly after a while.
This is true. Is Martin Nguyen
Mm.
getting submitted this weekend?
I think there's a good chance, but I also think there's a good chance that it's a TKO. I'll say this, that like Martin's a scrambly, scrappy guy. It's not like he's gone up against pure grappling opponents before and like it's been like impossible for him to do anything. Like, guys take him down or try to, try to, and he does a pretty good job defending or getting out or getting back up to his feet. So I anticipate it being, tough, and I anticipate it not, there being, several attempts to like try to take him down and control him. And like, man, of course, the opportunity presents itself to end the fight. We're ending the fight, no question. But I think it very well might be the case that, this is not the first takedown, not the second down, not the third, where, I have to wear this guy down, with damage over time and eventually get him to a point where he either can't fight the submissions anymore or he's taken so much damage that he has to quit, or a referee forces him to quit, So I think that's very probable for this fight also. I've had TKO finishes in the past. I think it's a very, very real way for me to end this fight.
You get the finish here. I mean, that title shot is yours, right? Do you prefer to fight Tankai, or do you want Tan Lee again, just to put it straight?
Yeah, man. I mean, for dramatic purposes, like of course we would love to fight Tan Lee for the title again. It's like it makes for a nice tight knit story, right? A pretty cool comeback story to be able to regain another title opportunity and then fight the same guy you lost to the last time and then be victorious. That's a pretty cool opportunity. To not just have to not just have a chance to fight the guy again, but to have a chance to fight him in basically the same context, for a title shot. So yeah, I would love that, again, from a clean, dramatic standpoint. But man, I want to fight whoever has the title for sure. And I also know that even if I win the title, there's no question that Thon Lee will be in short order finding his way back to another title shot, and then I'll fight him after I have it, right? So, the way I look at it, any of the guys that are in the top 5 that I haven't fought yet, it's a matter of time. And, we're going to see each other, and I got to be ready for those fights. And I'm excited for those fights. And at the end of the day, I won't look at myself as truly the best in the division until I really have all of those fights against the guys that I look at that have cemented themselves as the best guys in the division. Because otherwise, really, it's like winning a tournament, but you didn't face, one of the guys. It's like, oh yeah, like you're the best. You got the gold medal around your neck, but like, have you fought all of the, the potential contenders? Because styles and things change the context of fights. One guy beats one guy doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen to, for another guy. And, sometimes crazy things happen. And, that's the reason somebody won, extreme circumstances. So, I think you have to really, put your stamp on the belt, to really be considered the best in the division. You can't just like show up, get it, and that's it. That's one of the reasons I'm so excited to fight Martin, is because that's what he did. He almost had 3 belts, in this organization, man, and he's working his way back up to trying to do it again. And hopefully I'm going to stop him.
That's it. Shamil Gasanov, did you see, said, no matter who I have to fight, I want the Garry Tonon rematch. I'll fight anybody to get it. You are in his thoughts. What's that like when a guy's just like, I need to fight Garry Tonon again?
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. He was undefeated for a little bit longer than I was, so I could see that as being maybe a bigger, like a more dramatic thing for him. Also, I kind of beat him in a way. I beat him at what he's good at in a way, right? So it's a little different. Like, the Thon loss that I had, it's like, oh man, I was trying to go for a leg lock and he knocked me out. So I guess you could argue in a way he beat me out what I'm good at, but not really. It's like he used the weapons that he's accrued in mixed martial arts over the years, hitting people really hard. And he used those to defeat, my skills. Whereas like, Shamil, is his claim to fame is being an elite level grappler, and I beat him with elite level grappling. So maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe that's why it's a little bit more sore, like as much as I want to beat Thon Lei again, it's like, it wasn't like, or not again, what I said, imagining that I'd already beat him. As much as I want to fight Thon Lei again, it hasn't been like, it hasn't been like on my mind. It's like, I knew that it's going to happen again. And when it happens, it happens. It is what it is. Like, it's a natural result of me continuing to do the things that I need to do right in this division for me to eventually fight him again. Right. And I guess if I was Shamil, that's how I would see fighting me again. It's like, man, if you're doing the right things and you're beating the right, like, you're going to fight me again. Right. So like, no rush. It should just be like, but again, maybe it's sore because of the grappling loss. Maybe it's sore because he had been undefeated for a little bit longer. I'm not really sure. I think that he's got a little bit of space between, fighting me again. He's probably got a fight or two before that would be potentially happening. But let's see. I mean, he's going to be a tough force in this division. He's definitely a really tough fight. It was one of my hardest fights, no question.
Could you tell us who wins out of Tankai and Tanli, or who you think is going to win?
Oh, yeah, it's tough, man. It's a tough call. Let's say Thon Lee. Like, I think that Thon is a pretty intelligent fighter. Maybe he makes the relevant adjustments that he needs to come back and beat this guy. I would like to see that. We'll see. Either, like I said, either way, I got to fight all these guys. So it'll be exciting to watch. I'll be watching for sure, no question.
We're going to wrap up with the perfect striker. So out of all of one championship, every division, who are you going with for best punches?
Oof, best punches every division.
Yeah, just quick fire style.
I know, dude. Best is always hard for me because I hate committing to things. because I don't
Just
want
quick
people to
fire
judge
style.
me.
First name that comes into your head. Best punches, best elbows, best knees, best kicks.
Oh man, yeah, like super leg for sure, elbows, but punches. Let's go with Nikki Holston. You know, I mean,
Punches.
am I allowed to choose people that aren't in mixed martial arts, or
Absolutely.
it's up?
Any discipline in
Yeah,
one championship. Okay,
yeah,
so
punches,
punches.
punches for sure. Nikki Holston. I think
Okay.
I feel strong with that answer.
Okay. Elbows.
Elbows, I say super leg.
Knees.
Knees. Ooh, there was a guy actually who fought. I think it was in one who actually fought Nikki Holston. Uh, he played a pressure game like Nikki did, but with knees. I can't remember who it was,
Is it
but
Sammy Sana or somebody?
could be. He beat him. He beat Nikki, but it was narrow. It was narrow. The last round was going Nikki's way, but he was really Nikki was having a tough time because this guy had much better knees. But
Do you have
yeah.
anyone whose name you can remember for the sake
Oh,
of the
because
edit?
you gotta list it. Hell, man, I don't know. Uh, I'm trying to think of like a cool knee victory. Uh, having a tough time. Who else? Who else? I mean, I could pick any of the Thai guys, but I don't know if there's one in particular stands out. Hmm. Let's go with Petruzian. Petruzian's got some pretty nasty knees. It's a kickboxer. It's a little different than the Thai stuff, but yeah.
Yeah. The doctor. Kicks.
Hicks. Okay. That's there's a he's a Petruzian's a pretty good candidate for kicks too, but um, hmm, same thing with some of the other guys I said. Kicks, kicks, kicks. Am I allowed to double up?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, sure. Let's say Petruzian again.
And who's got the best chin?
Chin. Oh, Rod Tang for sure.
And
I think
I
it's
might have to
tough to
retire
argue.
that question because it's been like 10 for 10 Rod Tang. And who's got the best microphone skills?
Best microphone skills. Oh, who's a good talker? Who's a good talker? Aside from me, who's a good talker? Trying to think of like any recent call outs or anything that have been kind of cool. Uh, maybe trying to remember, who's the heavyweight champ right now in
Anatoly
MMA?
Malakin.
Yeah, let's go with him. Anatoly Malkin. He does a little bit of stuff on the mic.
Good to see you, man. Good luck this weekend. Enjoy Japan. Enjoy the food afterwards. Amazing.
Yeah. Cheers, man. Thanks so much.
Take a move in the ring. You can hit me with a word.